The first light of morning creeps through the thin curtains, casting elongated shadows across the worn hardwood floor. Dust motes dance in the pale beams, swirling like microscopic galaxies. The room is cool, too cool. The ancient radiator in the corner clicking and sighing, but failing to provide adequate warmth. A thin layer of frost patterns the inside edges of the window, delicate crystalline structures that catch the light in prismatic splinters. I pull the blankets tighter around my shoulders, savoring the cocoon of warmth for just a moment longer before facing the day. The sheets smell faintly of lavender detergent and something else, the metallic tang that seems to follow me everywhere now. My mouth is dry, tongue sticking to the roof as I swallow. The clock on the nightstand reads 6:42, its red digits harsh against the soft dawn light. My fingers trace the inside of my left wrist, feeling for the pulse that always seems fainter than it should be. Thinner, weaker. The doctors say there's nothing physically wrong with me, but I know better. I've always known better. The floorboards creak as I swing my legs over the side of the bed, the cold wood sending a shock through my bare feet. My body feels heavier than it should, limbs weighted with something more than sleep. The mirror across the room catches my reflection. Pale skin, dark circles beneath eyes that seem too large for my face. I look away quickly, unable to face what I've become. From downstairs, the murmur of voices drifts up through the heating vent. My parents, speaking in those hushed, urgent tones they've adopted lately, the ones they think I can't hear. I press my ear against the cold metal grate, the ridges digging into my skin. Can't keep pretending. My father's voice, tight with frustration. The tests confirmed it. She's empty. Lower your voice, my mother hisses. She might hear you. And what if she does? She needs to understand what's happening, what this means for all of us. I pull back from the vent, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. Empty blood. The words echo in my head, clinical and cold. I've heard the whispers, seen the news reports about people like me, rare genetic anomalies whose blood lacks something essential, something the turned crave more than ordinary human blood. The floor seems to tilt beneath me as I stand, my vision narrowing to pinpricks of light. I grip the edge of my dresser, the polished wood smooth and solid under my trembling fingers. The drawers slide open with a soft whoosh, revealing neatly folded clothes, evidence of my attempt to maintain control in a world rapidly spinning away from me. I dress mechanically, layers against the perpetual chill that seems to emanate from within rather than without. Cotton underwear, wool socks, jeans worn soft at the knees, a long-sleeved thermal shirt, and a sweater over that. Armor of a sort. NT. Kitchen. Moments later, the conversation stops, abruptly, as I enter the kitchen. The sudden silence rings in my ears, more damning than any words could be. Steam rises from the coffee pot, curling in the air like questioning fingers. The scent of brewing coffee mingles with toast and the faint antiseptic smell that has permeated our home since my last round of tests. My father stands by the window, newspaper clutched in white-knuckled hands. He's wearing his good suit, the one reserved for important meetings and funerals. My mother sits at the table, her teacup leaving a ring of condensation on the wooden surface. Neither looks directly at me. "Good morning," I say, my voice sounding foreign to my own ears, too bright, too normal for the weight pressing down on all of us. Avery. My father folds the newspaper with precise movements, creasing it along existing lines. "We need to talk." The toast pops up with a jarring clang. No one moves to retrieve it. Outside, a car door slams, followed by the crunch of footsteps on gravel. My mother's eyes flick to the window, then back to her tea. Her hands tremble slightly, causing ripples across the amber surface. Who's here? The question feels thick in my throat. Dr. Ward, my father says, straightening his tie. And a representative from the registry. The floor seems to drop away beneath me. The registry, the government agency responsible for tracking and managing those with empty blood. My fingers find the edge of the counter, gripping until my knuckles match the bloodless white of my father's. Why? The word comes out as barely more than a whisper, though I already know the answer. My mother finally looks at me, her eyes shining with unshed tears. It's for the best, Avery. You know what's been happening to people like you in the cities. The attacks, the disappearances. So you called them? Without talking to me first? Heat rises in my cheeks, the first warmth I've felt all morning. The doorbell rings, a cheerful three-note chime that seems obscene in the heaviness of the moment. My father straightens his shoulders, a businessman preparing for a difficult negotiation. This isn't a discussion, Avery. The decision has been made. He moves past me toward the front door, his cologne, sandalwood, and citrus briefly overwhelming the smell of burnt toast. My mother rises, smoothing invisible wrinkles from her skirt, avoiding my eyes. What decision? I ask, but the words fall into empty air as they both leave the kitchen. I stand frozen, listening to the murmur of voices in the entryway. Professional, cordial, the sound of my life being dismantled with pleasantries. Through the kitchen window, I can see another car pulling up, sleek, black, with tinted windows and government plates. My breath fogs the glass as I lean closer, heart pounding in my ears. The front door opens again. Footsteps approach. Too many. Too heavy. I turn as they enter the kitchen. My parents, flanking a tall woman in a white lab coat and a man in a charcoal suit. The woman's hair is pulled back in a severe bun, her face arranged in what I suppose is meant to be a reassuring smile. The man carries a tablet, his expression impassive. Avery, the woman says, extending a hand. I'm Dr. Helena Ward. We've been monitoring your case with great interest. I don't take her hand. My case? Your condition, she clarifies, withdrawing her hand smoothly as if the rejection was her idea. Empty blood syndrome is quite rare. Only 1 in 50,000 exhibits the markers. Lucky me, I mutter, wrapping my arms around myself. The man in the suit steps forward. Ms. Quinn, I'm Agent Mercer with the registry. I need you to confirm some information for our records. He turns the tablet toward me. On the screen is my face, a photo from my driver's license, alongside columns of data. Medical history, blood work results, genetic markers. My life reduced to clinical terminology and numbers. What is this? I look to my parents, searching for some explanation, some sign that this is all a misunderstanding. My father clears his throat. The Locke Sanctuary has agreed to take you, Avery. It's one of the most secure facilities in the country. You'll be safe there. Safe? The word tastes bitter. You mean locked away. Protected, Dr. Ward corrects, her voice smooth as polished stone. From those who would exploit your condition. The Turned have been tracking empty bloods, my mother adds, her voice breaking slightly. There was an attack just last week in Burlington. A girl your age, She stops, pressing her fingers to her lips. They drained her. Agent Mercer finishes flatly. not for sustenance. Empty blood doesn't satisfy their hunger. They did it for the high. Your blood contains a compound that acts as an intoxicant to their kind. The room spins slightly. I grip the counter again, feeling the cool granite beneath my palms. So I'm being sent away? Just like that? It's not that simple, Avery, my father says, though his averted gaze tells me it's exactly that simple. There are considerations. Financial considerations, I say slowly, understanding dawning like a cold sunrise. How much? The silence that follows confirms everything. Dr. Ward examines her immaculate fingernails. Agent Mercer taps something on his tablet. My parents look everywhere but at me. The Locke Sanctuary provides substantial compensation to families of empty bloods, Dr. Ward finally says. It helps offset the emotional burden of separation. A laugh escapes me, harsh and unfamiliar. You sold me. We secured your future, my father counters, color rising in his cheeks. The mortgage, your mother's medical bills. Richard, please, my mother interrupts, reaching for my hand. I step back, avoiding her touch. You have 1 hour to pack, Agent Mercer says, checking his watch. Essentials only. The sanctuary provides all necessities. And if I refuse? The question hangs in the air, fragile and desperate. Dr. Ward's smile tightens. Empty blood syndrome has been classified as a public health concern. Under Section 7 of the Supernatural Coexistence Act, registration and secured placement is mandatory. You mean I don't have a choice? No one has a choice anymore, Avery, my father says softly. Not since the turning. Into Avery's bedroom. Later, my hands move mechanically, pulling items from drawers and shelves. What do you pack when you're being sold? What constitutes an essential when your entire existence has been reduced to a commodity? The suitcase on my bed seems simultaneously too small and too large. How can my life fit inside? Yet how could I possibly fill it when everything feels meaningless? I fold a sweater, the soft cashmere catching on my dry skin. My grandmother's locket goes into a side pocket, along with a dog-eared copy of Jane Eyre. A cruel irony, finding comfort in a story about a girl trapped in a house with monsters. At least Jane's monster loved her. Mine just want to get high on my blood. The door opens without a knock. Dr. Ward stands in the threshold, her clipboard clutched to her chest, like a shield. We need to leave soon, she says, her eyes scanning the room, cataloging my possessions with clinical detachment. The drive to the sanctuary takes several hours, and Damien Locke insists on all new arrivals being processed before sundown. Damien Locke, I repeat, testing the name of my new owner on my tongue. The Vampire King himself. I should be honored, I suppose. Dr. Ward's expression softens marginally. It's not what you think. The sanctuary is more like a research facility. Comfortable, safe. Damien Locke has dedicated his resources to understanding empty blood and protecting those who carry it. While keeping them as his personal blood bank, I zip the suitcase with more force than necessary. That's a common misconception. The turned can't feed on empty blood. It has no nutritional value for them. That's why it's so dangerous for you out here. You're a drug to them, not food. I sit on the edge of the bed, suddenly exhausted. So instead of being eaten, I get to be a science experiment. You get to live, Dr. Ward says simply. More than many with your condition can say these days. A knock at the front door echoes through the house. Dr. Ward checks her watch, frowning. That's not our transport, she mutters, moving to the window. Her body tenses as she peers through the curtains. Damn it! What is it? I join her at the window, peering over her shoulder. Below, a crowd has gathered on our front lawn. Neighbors, mostly, but also strangers with phones raised, recording. Signs bob above the crowd. No sanctuary in our town, and empty danger, and protect our children from the turned. How did they know? I whisper, my stomach clenching at the sight of familiar faces twisted with fear and anger. Mrs. Abernathy from next door, who used to bring over cookies when I was sick. Mr. Collins from the hardware store, who helped me build a birdhouse for science class. Information leaks, Dr. Ward says grimly. Registry visits aren't as confidential as they should be. We need to move now. She grabs my suitcase with one hand and my arm with the other, pulling me toward the door. I resist, digging my heels into the carpet. I can't go out there. They're my neighbors, my friends. They're a mob, Dr. Ward corrects, her grip tightening. And mobs don't see individuals, they see threats. Right now, you're the threat. Downstairs, voices rise in volume. My father arguing with Agent Mercer, my mother's softer tones trying to mediate. The front door opens, and the crowd noise surges, a wave of angry sound crashing against the house. Dr. Ward pulls me down the hallway toward the stairs. Stay close to me. Don't engage with anyone. The transport is pulling around back. At the top of the stairs, I pause, looking down at the scene below. My father stands in the open doorway, his body a barrier between our home and the crowd. Agent Mercer speaks into a phone, his face tight with frustration. Through the gap, I can see Elena Brooks, my lab partner from chemistry, her phone raised to capture my downfall for social media. Avery, we need to go, Dr. Ward insists, tugging at my arm. I take one last look at my bedroom door, at the life I'm being forced to leave behind. Something hardens inside me, a seed of anger crystallizing around the fear and confusion. Fine, I say, squaring my shoulders. Let's get this over with. We descend the stairs as the front door closes with a bang, my father leaning against it, his face flushed. They're not dispersing, he says to Agent Mercer. Someone called the local news. The transport is 2 minutes out, Mercer responds, sliding his phone into his pocket. We'll exit through the kitchen, across the back lawn to the service road. My mother appears from the living room, her face pale but composed. She holds out a small bag to me. Some snacks for the journey, she says, her voice wavering slightly. And your medications. I take the bag without a word, unable to reconcile this small act of maternal care with her complicity in selling me to a vampire sanctuary. Her eyes search mine, looking for forgiveness I'm not ready to give. The sound of breaking glass shatters the moment. A rock tumbles across the entryway floor, followed by shouts from outside. Time to go, Agent Mercer says, drawing a weapon from beneath his jacket. Now. We move as a unit through the kitchen, out the back door, across the frost-covered lawn. The grass crunches beneath our feet, brittle with cold. My breath forms clouds in the air, matching the rhythm of my pounding heart. Behind us, the crowd has begun to circle the house, voices rising in anger when they spot us fleeing. There she is, the empty. You're bringing them here. The turned follow the empties. My children live on this street. A sleek black SUV waits at the edge of the property, engine running. The driver, a broad-shouldered man with mirrored sunglasses, steps out to open the rear door. Dr. Ward pushes me forward, her hand firm between my shoulder blades. Get in, she orders, glancing back at the approaching crowd. I hesitate, turning to face my parents one last time. They stand together at the edge of the lawn, my father's arm around my mother's shoulders. Neither moves to stop what's happening. Neither calls me back. Why? I ask, the word containing all my hurt, all my confusion. Why didn't you fight for me? My father's expression hardens. This is fighting for you, Avery. You think we want to send you away? You think this was an easy choice? It wasn't a choice at all, I say, the truth of it settling into my bones. You never even considered another option. There is no other option, he shouts, his composure finally breaking. You're empty, Avery. Do you understand what that means? What happens to empties who stay in human communities? They become targets. They put everyone around them at risk. The turned can smell you from miles away. They'll come here, to our home, to our town. Richard, my mother murmurs, tugging at his arm. Not like this. But he pulls away from her, stepping toward me, his face flushed with anger and something else. Fear. Raw, primal fear. The truth is, he says, his voice dropping to a harsh whisper, you're not safe for us anymore. And we're not safe for you. The money from the sanctuary is just a bonus, a silver lining to the cloud that's been hanging over us since your diagnosis. Each word lands like a physical blow. I stagger back, bumping against the SUV's open door. Dr. Ward's hand steadies me, guiding me into the vehicle. It's time, she says softly. The crowd has reached the edge of the backyard now, their angry voices rising over my father's harsh breathing. Someone throws something, an egg maybe, that splatters against the side of the SUV. The driver tenses, one hand moving inside his jacket. We need to move, he says, his voice deep and calm despite the tension. I slide into the back seat, the leather cool against my hands. Dr. Ward follows, pulling the door closed behind her. Through the tinted window, I watch my parents retreat toward the house, shoulders hunched against the verbal assault from our neighbors. They don't look back. The engine purrs as the driver pulls away, gravel crunching beneath the tires. We accelerate down the service road, leaving behind the only home I've ever known. The crowd's angry voices fade, replaced by the soft hum of the climate control and the occasional crackle of the driver's radio. It gets easier, Dr. Ward says after a long silence. The transition, the adjustment to your new reality. I turn from the window to look at her, really look at her for the first time. Behind the professional facade, there's something in her eyes, a coldness, a calculation that makes my skin crawl. Does it? I ask, my voice barely audible. Or do you just tell us that so we go quietly? She doesn't answer, her attention shifting to her tablet as she makes notes. Cataloging my reactions, perhaps. Documenting the merchandise for her vampire employer. The landscape blurs outside the window, familiar streets giving way to highways, then rural roads winding through forests increasingly dense and wild. With each mile, the reality of my situation settles deeper. I am being taken to Damien Locke, the vampire king, because my blood is empty and my parents sold me to save themselves. I press my forehead against the cool glass, watching my breath fog the window. In the condensation, I trace a single word with my fingertip. Why? But as the miles pass and the sun begins its descent toward the horizon, I realize there's only one question that matters now. Not why this happened, but what happens next. What becomes of a girl with empty blood in the kingdom of the turned? What happens when I come face to face with Damien Locke and he discovers that my blood isn't just empty, but something else entirely? Something forbidden. The car slows as we turn onto a narrow road flanked by ancient oaks. Their gnarled branches reach overhead like arthritic fingers, creating a natural tunnel that blocks what remains of the fading light. My heartbeat quickens. Whatever waits at the end of this road will define the rest of my life, however long or short that might be. "We're almost there," Dr. Ward says, not looking up from her tablet. "Remember your place, Avery. You're not a guest. You're a resource." A resource. The word settles in my stomach like a stone. I've been reduced to a commodity, a thing to be used. But even as the thought forms, another rises to challenge it. If my blood isn't just empty, but something else, something forbidden, then maybe I'm not as powerless as they think. The trees part suddenly, revealing a sprawling estate nestled against the backdrop of mountains. The manor house stands 3 stories tall, its gray stone facade softened by climbing ivy and illuminated by subtle ground lighting. It's beautiful in a haunting way, like something from another century preserved in amber. "Welcome to Locke Manor," Dr. Ward says, her voice carrying a note of reverence that seems at odds with her clinical demeanor. "Your new home." Home. The word feels wrong, hollow. This isn't home. Home was the small apartment I shared with parents who apparently valued their debts more than their daughter. Home was the bookstore where I worked weekends, the coffee shop where I studied, the park where I walked when my thoughts became too loud. This place, with its imposing gates and watchful windows, is a prison dressed in luxury. The car stops before wide stone steps leading to massive double doors. My fingers tremble as I reach for the door handle, but Dr. Ward's voice stops me. "Wait for the escort," she says sharply. "Protocol must be followed." I drop my hand to my lap and stare straight ahead. The silence stretches, broken only by Dr. Ward's fingers tapping against her tablet screen. Minutes pass before the doors of the manor open, spilling warm light onto the steps. A young man, no, not a man, a vampire, descends. Even in the dim evening light, I can see the unnatural grace in his movements, the too perfect symmetry of his features. He looks to be in his early 20s, with tousled dark hair and an expression of barely contained curiosity. "Noah," Dr. Ward acknowledges as he approaches the car. "Where's Damien?" "Occupied," Noah replies, his voice carrying a hint of an accent I can't place. His eyes shift to me, widening slightly. "This is her? The empty blood?" "Yes," Dr. Ward says, gathering her things. "Take her to the prepared room. I need to brief Damien on my findings." The car door opens, and cool evening air rushes in, carrying the scent of pine and something else, something sweet and metallic that makes my stomach turn. Noah extends his hand, and after a moment's hesitation, I take it. His skin is cool but not cold, firm but not hard, almost human but not quite. "I'm Noah Locke," he says as I step from the car. He studies me with undisguised interest, his eyes a startling shade of amber, taking in every detail. "Damien's ward." "Avery Quinn," I reply, my voice steadier than I feel. "Apparently, I'm the merchandise." Noah's expression shifts, something like sympathy flickering across his features before disappearing behind a carefully neutral mask. "Follow me," he says simply, turning toward the house. I glance back at Dr. Ward, who's already walking away, her attention fixed on her tablet. She doesn't look back, doesn't offer any parting words, just delivers the package and moves on. The entrance hall of Locke Manor is a study in understated opulence. Marble floors gleam beneath crystal chandeliers, and artwork that belongs in museums adorns the walls. The air is warmer here, carrying the scent of beeswax and old books. Your room is on the second floor, Noah says, leading me toward a sweeping staircase. East wing. It gets the morning sun. Is that a consideration for vampires? I ask, genuinely curious despite my fear. Morning sun preferences? Noah's lips quirk in what might be amusement. We're not all creatures of darkness, despite what your movies suggest. Some of us quite enjoy the sunrise, even if we can't bask in it directly. We ascend in silence after that, our footsteps echoing against the marble. The second floor is more intimate, with hardwood floors covered in plush rugs and wall sconces casting a warm glow. Noah stops before a door of dark wood and pushes it open. Your quarters, he says, stepping aside to let me enter. The room is larger than my entire apartment, with a four-poster bed draped in cream-colored linens, a sitting area with comfortable-looking chairs, and floor-to-ceiling windows that must offer spectacular views in daylight. A door to the left stands ajar, revealing glimpses of a private bathroom. I struggle to find words that won't sound ungrateful. It's very nice. It's a gilded cage, Noah says bluntly, but as cages go, it's one of the better ones. I turn to face him, searching his expression for cruelty or mockery, but find only frank honesty. Why am I here, Noah? Really? What does Damien Locke want with me? Noah hesitates, his fingers drumming against the doorframe. That's not for me to say. Damien will explain when he's ready. He steps back into the hallway. There are clothes in the wardrobe. Dinner will be brought up in an hour. You should rest until then. Am I a prisoner? I ask before he can close the door. Noah's expression softens slightly. You're a guest with limited privileges, for now. He gestures toward the windows. They open, by the way, but I wouldn't recommend jumping. It's a long way down, and Damien would be very displeased if his new acquisition damaged herself. With that, he closes the door. There's no sound of a lock turning, but I don't test the handle. Instead, I cross to the windows and look out at the darkening landscape. The grounds stretch away from the house, immaculately maintained gardens giving way to wild forest. Beyond that, mountains rise against the night sky, their peaks still catching the last rays of sunset. It's beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. I press my palm against the cool glass, watching as my reflection stares back at me. Pale face, dark circles under my eyes, hair falling in limp strands around my shoulders. I look like what I am, a girl who's lost everything in the space of a day. But I'm still here, still breathing, still thinking. And if my blood is truly something other than empty, something forbidden, then maybe, just maybe, I have a card to play that no one expects. I turn from the window and begin to explore my new cage, searching for anything that might give me insight into my situation or offer some small advantage. The wardrobe contains clothes in my size, simple but expensive pieces in neutral colors. The bathroom is stocked with high-end toiletries. Everything speaks of careful preparation. They were expecting me, not just today, but for some time. The thought sends a chill down my spine. I'm testing the mattress, firm but yielding, clearly expensive, when a knock sounds at the door. Before I can respond, it opens to reveal a woman carrying a covered tray. She's human, I think, though there's something in her movements that suggests long association with vampires, a certain careful grace, a watchfulness. Dinner, she says, placing the tray on a small table near the sitting area. And a message from Damien Locke. My heart jumps at the name. What message? He will see you tomorrow evening. Until then, you're to rest and acclimate. She removes the cover from the tray, revealing a simple but elegant meal: roasted chicken, vegetables, fresh bread. Is there anything else you require? Information, I say, moving to stand before her. What is this place? What happens to humans here? She meets my gaze steadily. This is Damien Locke's sanctuary. What happens to humans depends entirely on the human. Her eyes flick over me assessingly. Your empty blood. That makes you valuable but vulnerable. Be careful, Avery Quinn. Vulnerable to what? I press, but she's already moving toward the door. Eat while it's hot, she says instead of answering. Sleep if you can. Tomorrow will come soon enough. The door closes behind her, and I'm alone again with my questions and fears. I approach the food cautiously, sniffing it for any strange odors, but it smells delicious. My stomach growls, reminding me that I haven't eaten since this morning. A lifetime ago, it seems. I eat slowly, savoring each bite as I try to process everything that's happened. My parents' betrayal, the revelation of my empty blood, the journey to this place, Noah's frank assessment of my situation, the woman's warning, "Be careful, Avery Quinn," as if I have any power here to be anything but careful. After eating, I shower in the luxurious bathroom, letting hot water sluice away the grime of travel and the lingering touch of Dr. Ward's clinical hands. I dress in soft pajamas found in a drawer and slip between sheets that feel like clouds against my skin. Despite my fear, exhaustion pulls at me, dragging me towards sleep. My last conscious thought is a question that follows me into dreams. What becomes of a girl with empty blood in the kingdom of the turned? I wake to sunlight streaming through windows I forgot to cover and the disorienting sensation of not knowing where I am. For a blissful moment, I'm simply in a strange bed, perhaps on vacation or at a friend's house. Then reality crashes back. The deal, the car, Locke Manor, my new prison. I sit up, pushing tangled hair from my face, and take stock of my surroundings in the clear light of day. The room is even more beautiful than it appeared last night, with details I missed in the dimness. The intricate carving on the bedposts, the subtle pattern in the wallpaper, the small writing desk in the corner with paper and pens laid out neatly. A knock at the door startles me. "Yes?" I call, pulling the covers higher instinctively. The same woman from last night enters with another tray. "Breakfast," she says, setting it down where dinner had been. "And clothes have been selected for your meeting with Damien this evening." She gestures to the wardrobe, where a garment bag now hangs from the door. "May I?" I ask, slipping from the bed. She nods, watching as I unzip the bag to reveal a simple but elegant dress in deep blue. The fabric feels expensive between my fingers, the cut modest but flattering. "It's lovely," I say, surprised by the consideration. "But why?" "Damien Locke values aesthetics," she interrupts, "and first impressions matter greatly to him." "What should I expect?" I ask, turning to face her. "From this meeting?" She considers me for a long moment, her expression unreadable. "Honesty," she finally says. "Damien values that above all else. Be truthful, even if the truth is ugly or frightening. Even if the truth might get me killed?" The question slips out before I can stop it. Something like sympathy flickers in her eyes. "If Damien Locke wanted you dead, Avery Quinn, you wouldn't be standing here asking questions." With that cryptic response, she leaves me to my breakfast and my thoughts. The day passes with excruciating slowness. I'm not locked in, I discover. The door opens easily to my touch, but Noah's warning about limited privileges keeps me from venturing far. I explore the immediate vicinity of my room, finding a small library across the hall that seems safe enough to enter. The shelves are filled with the eclectic mix of volumes, everything from ancient-looking tomes in languages I don't recognize to modern bestsellers with unbroken spines. I select a book at random and settle into a comfortable chair by the window, hoping to distract myself from the approaching evening. I'm several chapters into a historical novel when the quality of the light changes, the bright afternoon sun softening toward evening. My stomach tightens with anxiety. Soon, I'll meet Damien Locke face to face. Soon, I'll learn why I'm here, what he wants with my empty blood, or whatever my blood truly is. I return to my room and prepare carefully, showering again and dressing in the blue dress. It fits perfectly, another unsettling reminder of how thoroughly my arrival was anticipated. I dry my hair and leave it loose around my shoulders, apply the minimal makeup I find in the bathroom, and wait. The knock, when it comes, is different from earlier, sharper, more authoritative. Noah stands in the hallway, dressed more formally than yesterday in dark trousers and a crisp white shirt. "It's time," he says simply. Damien is waiting in his study. I follow him through corridors I haven't explored, down the grand staircase, and into a wing of the house that feels older, more established. The air here carries the scent of leather and wood smoke, and the lighting is dimmer, more intimate. Noah stops before a set of double doors and knocks once. A voice from within, deep, resonant, carrying an authority that makes my spine straighten instinctively, calls, "Enter." Noah pushes the doors open and steps aside, gesturing for me to proceed. I take a deep breath, square my shoulders, and step into Damien Locke's domain. The study is a large room dominated by a massive desk of dark wood. Bookshelves line the walls, interrupted only by a fireplace where flames dance merrily, casting shifting shadows across the rich carpet. Behind the desk stands a man, no, a vampire, whose presence seems to fill the space completely. Damien Locke is not what I expected. There's no theatrical cape, no slicked-back hair, none of the vampire cliches I've absorbed from movies and books. Instead, he's tall and powerfully built, with short, dark hair touched with silver at the temples and eyes so intensely blue they seem to glow in the firelight. He wears a simple black suit that emphasizes the breadth of his shoulders and the lean strength of his frame. He's beautiful in the way dangerous things often are, a beauty that warns rather than welcomes. "Avery Quinn," he says, my name in his mouth sounding like something precious and rare. "Welcome to my home." I swallow hard, fighting the urge to curtsy or bow or make some other gesture of submission. Instead, I meet his gaze directly. "Thank you for your hospitality, Mr. Locke, though I can't say I'm here by choice." A smile touches his lips, there and gone so quickly I might have imagined it. Few who come to Locke Manor do so by choice, at least initially. He gestures to a chair positioned before his desk. "Please sit. We have much to discuss." I cross the room on legs that feel surprisingly steady and lower myself into the offered chair. Noah remains by the door, a silent sentinel. Damien takes his own seat behind the desk, his movements fluid and precise. Up close, I can see the subtle signs of his vampiric nature. The too perfect stillness when he's not moving. The way his chest doesn't rise and fall with breath he doesn't need. The unnatural clarity of his eyes. "You have questions," he says. Not a question, but a statement of fact. "Ask them." The directness catches me off guard. I'd expected evasion, manipulation. The kind of power games that powerful beings play with lesser ones, not this straightforward invitation. Why am I here? I ask, the most pressing question first. What do you want with me? Damien leans back in his chair, studying me with an intensity that makes my skin prickle. You're here because your blood is empty, he says. Or rather, because your blood was reported as empty by the mandatory testing program. I frown at his phrasing. Reported as empty? What does that mean? It means, Avery Quinn, that your blood is not empty at all. His voice drops lower, almost a growl. It is something far more rare and dangerous, something that has not been seen in over a century. My heart pounds against my ribs. What is it? Your blood contains an ancient property we call the void. Damien's eyes never leave mine, watching for my reaction. It doesn't merely fail to nourish vampires, as empty blood does. It actively harms us. A single drop can cause excruciating pain. A mouthful can incapacitate. A full feeding, he pauses, would be fatal. The words hang in the air between us, heavy with implication. My blood is a weapon, a poison to vampires. So I'm here because I'm dangerous to your kind? I ask, trying to process this revelation. You've imprisoned me to protect yourselves? You're here because others would use you as a weapon if they knew what you are, Damien corrects sharply. The Crimson Order, for instance, a faction that believes humans should be subjugated rather than protected, would extract your blood drop by drop to create weapons against those of us who maintain the peace. And Dr. Ward? She knows what I am? Damien's expression darkens. Dr. Helena Ward has her own agenda. She believes void blood can be synthesized, replicated. She sees you as the key to a new kind of power, one that would upset the delicate balance we've maintained for centuries. So you're protecting me? I can't keep the skepticism from my voice. I'm protecting everyone, he says simply, including you. Before I can respond, a commotion erupts in the hallway. Raised voices, the sound of running feet. Noah tenses at the door, looking to Damien for instruction. Damien rises smoothly from his chair. Stay here, he commands, moving toward the door with that unnatural vampire speed. But before he reaches it, the doors burst open to reveal a woman I've never seen before. She's human, her face flushed with exertion and fear, her clothes disheveled as if she's been in a struggle. Damien, she gasps. They've breached the perimeter. The Crimson Order, they know she's here. Damien's expression shifts to something terrible and cold. How many, Mira? At least 20, the woman, Mira, replies. Marcus Hale is leading them. A low growl emanates from Damien's chest, a sound so primal it raises the hair on my arms. Noah, take Avery to the safe room, now. Noah is at my side instantly, his hand closing around my upper arm. Come, he says urgently. We need to move. Wait. I resist his pull. What's happening? Who are these people? People who would drain you dry to make weapons against our kind, Damien says, his attention already shifting to whatever threat approaches. Go with Noah. He'll keep you safe until I deal with this. But now, Avery. The command in his voice brooks no argument. Noah pulls me toward a door concealed in the bookshelves, his grip firm but not painful. As we slip through, I catch one last glimpse of Damien Locke, standing tall and terrible in the center of his study, power radiating from him like heat from a flame. Then the hidden door closes behind us, and we're running through narrow passages built between the walls of the manor. The air is close and dusty, illuminated only by Noah's phone flashlight. Our footsteps echo on wooden floors, and my breath comes in ragged gasps as we descend stairs I didn't know existed. What is the Crimson Order? I manage between breaths. Why do they want me? Radicals, Noah replies tersely. They believe in vampire supremacy. Your blood would give them a weapon against those who oppose them, including Damien. We emerge into a basement I never would have found on my own, its stone walls lined with wine racks and storage shelves. Noah leads me to what appears to be a solid wall, presses his hand against a specific stone, and murmurs words I don't understand. The wall slides open, revealing a small room beyond, windowless but comfortably furnished, with a bed, chairs, and what looks like a fully stocked kitchenette. In, Noah urges. Quickly. I step inside, turning to face him as he follows. Will Damien be okay? There are 20 of them, you said. A grim smile touches Noah's lips. There's a reason Damien Locke is called the Vampire King, Avery. It's not just a title. Before I can ask what he means, a sound reaches us even through the thick walls of our hiding place. A roar of rage so powerful it seems to shake the very foundation of the house. Noah's eyes widen. What was that? I whisper, though I already know the answer. That, Noah says quietly, was Damien. The wall slides closed, sealing us in our sanctuary while above us, the Vampire King faces those who would steal his most dangerous possession, me. The roar reverberates through the stone walls, making my skin prickle with goosebumps. I've never heard anything like it. Primal, ancient, a sound that doesn't belong in this modern world. Noah's expression shifts from concern to something like pride. Should we help him? I ask, moving toward the hidden door. Noah blocks my path with surprising strength for his slender frame. That would defeat the purpose of hiding you, Avery. Trust me, Damien has faced worse odds. Above us, something crashes, furniture splintering, glass shattering. Muffled shouts and hisses filter down to us, punctuated by thuds that can only be bodies hitting walls and floors. I pace the small room, feeling utterly useless. I can't just hide down here while he fights for me. That's exactly what you'll do, Noah says firmly. Your blood is what they want. If you go up there, you give them their prize. I sink onto the edge of the bed, hands trembling. Tell me about the Crimson Order. What would they do with my blood? Noah's youthful face hardens, looking suddenly ancient. They believe vampires should rule openly. Your blood, empty blood they call it, would let them feed without restraint. They could drain humans completely without turning them. It would be a slaughter. Another crash above, followed by an eerie silence that stretches too long. Noah and I exchange glances, both holding our breath. Then footsteps, heavy, deliberate, approach the hidden entrance. Damien? Noah calls out cautiously. It's me, comes the reply, Damien's voice rougher than usual. The wall slides open, revealing Damien framed in the doorway. My breath catches. His normally immaculate appearance is in ruins. Shirt torn and spattered with dark stains. A gash across his cheek slowly closing as I watch. But his eyes, they burn with an intensity that makes me step back. Are you hurt? I ask, voice barely above a whisper. Nothing permanent, he says, stepping inside. But we have a problem. They weren't just after Avery. They were searching for something specific. Research files. Dr. Ward's research. Noah stiffens. They know about her work? Not just know about it. They're funding it. Damien's gaze locks with mine. Your father isn't working alone, Avery. The Crimson Order has been backing his research for years. The revelation hits me like a physical blow. My father is working with vampires? That makes no sense. He hates your kind. Hate and obsession are close cousins, Damien says, wiping blood from his face. Your father believes he's using them to further his research. They believe they're using him to create a weapon. And I'm caught in the middle, I finish, the pieces falling into place. My whole life, the special diets, the supplements, the blood tests, it was all to create, what? A human blood bank? Something like that, Noah says quietly. Your blood doesn't trigger our transformation response. Normally, when we feed, we must stop before taking too much, or the human turns. Your blood bypasses that safeguard. I feel sick, so I'm a walking weapon. You're a person, Damien corrects sharply. What others would make of you doesn't define what you are. His words warm something in me, but reality crashes back quickly. What happened to them? The ones who attacked? 5 dead. The rest retreated when they realized they were outmatched. There's no pride in his voice, just cold fact. They'll be back with reinforcements. Marcus Hale leads them now, and he's not known for giving up. Then we need to leave, I say, standing. I can't put you both in danger. Damien shakes his head. Running isn't the answer. They'll find you wherever you go, and they're not the only threat. Your father has connections in medical facilities across the country. The moment you check into a hospital, he'll know. So what do we do? I ask, desperation creeping into my voice. We fight back, Damien says simply. Not with violence, with truth. Your father's research violates every ethical standard in medicine. Dr. Ward's experiments on vampire physiology break treaties between our communities that have stood for centuries. Noah looks skeptical. Exposure. That's risky, Damien. For all of us. More risky than waiting for them to capture Avery, Damien counters. More risky than allowing the Crimson Order to gain a weapon that could upset the balance we've maintained? I think of my father's cold eyes, of Dr. Ward's clinical detachment as she drew vial after vial of my blood through childhood. What would I need to do? Testify, Damien says, to both human authorities and to the Vampire Council. Your medical records, combined with what we've discovered about their collaboration with the Crimson Order, would be enough to stop them. And put a target on my back forever, I add, not as a refusal but as acknowledgement of the cost. Damien's expression softens slightly. You already have a target on your back, Avery. The difference is whether you're running from it or facing it. A loud bang from upstairs interrupts us. Noah tenses, moving to the door. They're back already? I ask, heart racing. No, Damien says, his expression darkening. Worse. That's your father. Richard Quinn's voice echoes through the house, amplified by what sounds like a megaphone. Avery, I know you're in there. Come out now and no one needs to get hurt. Noah peers through a small monitoring screen near the hidden door. Police cars outside, at least 4. And is that Dr. Ward with him? Damien looks at the screen, jaw tightening. He's brought reinforcements of his own. Clever, using human authorities as shields. What are we going to do? I ask, panic rising. If the police search the house, they won't find this room, Noah assures me. But we can't stay hidden forever. Damien's expression turns calculating. Your father's made a mistake. He's made this public. That gives us leverage. My father's voice continues, the familiar cold authority sending chills down my spine. This is your last chance, Avery. These people are dangerous. They've been drugging you, manipulating you. A bitter laugh escapes me. That's rich, coming from him. We need to turn this around, Damien says. Use his tactics against him. Noah looks doubtful. How? He's got the police and medical authority on his side. But not evidence, I say slowly, an idea forming. My father keeps everything. Records, samples, research notes. It's all in his home office safe. If we could get those files… Too risky, Damien says immediately. His house will be guarded. Not the digital backups, I counter. He uploads everything to a secure server. I know his passwords. I've watched him enter them 100 times during my treatments. If I can access that server, we'd have everything. Damien considers this. It could work, but we need a distraction first. He turns to Noah. Call Mira. Tell her to bring the documents we discussed. Noah nods, pulling out his phone. Who's Mira? I ask. An ally. Human, like you, but with connections to both worlds. She's been helping us gather information on the Crimson Order. Another crash sounds above, followed by the splintering of wood. Police, open up! Damien remains unnaturally calm. They're breaking down the door. Good. Good? I echo incredulously. Property damage, forced entry, all without a warrant. It creates procedural problems for them later. He turns to me, eyes intense. Avery, I need you to decide now. Are you with us? Once we move forward, there's no going back to your old life. The question hangs between us, weighted with implications. My old life, controlled, isolated, a lab specimen for my father's ambitions. And this new one, dangerous, uncertain, but somehow more real than anything I've known before. I'm with you, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. Damien nods once. Then let's give your father exactly what he wants. You walking out voluntarily. His lips curve in a smile that's all predator. Just not quite the way he expects. 20 minutes later, I stand at Damien's side as the hidden passage opens not into the basement, but into a different part of the house. A side entrance Noah had kept secret. Outside, Mira waits in an unmarked car, engine running. Remember, Damien says quietly, we only need 10 minutes. Access the server, download the files, then meet us at the location Mira gives you. I nod, trying to calm my racing heart. And you? I'll be creating a very public scene for your father to deal with. His hand brushes mine, a fleeting touch that somehow steadies me. Be careful. You too, I whisper, then slip into Mira's waiting car. Mira, a sharp-eyed woman with silver-streaked dark hair, gives me a quick nod. Ready? As I'll ever be. We pull away just as shouting erupts from the front of Damien's house. I don't look back, focusing instead on the tablet Mira hands me. The connection's secure? Untraceable, she confirms. Your father's security is good, but mine is better. My fingers fly over the screen, entering the familiar sequence I've watched my father use countless times. The server welcomes me with clinical menus of research files, patient data, and experimental protocols. I navigate to the folder labeled Project Empty with a sick feeling in my stomach. That's me, I murmur. A project. Mira's eyes flick to me in the rearview mirror. Not anymore. I download everything. Research notes, correspondence with the Crimson Order, financial transactions, video files of experiments. Each file that transfers feels like reclaiming a piece of myself, transforming my prison into a weapon against its creators. Got it, I say, as the download completes. Where to now? The council chambers, Mira says, making a sharp turn onto a highway entrance. Damien's called an emergency session. Both sides will be there. vampire elders, and human medical ethics committee representatives. My phone buzzes with a text from Noah. D creating spectacular diversion. News crews arriving. Father furious. All going to plan. I allow myself a small smile. What exactly is Damien doing? Mira's expression is grim but satisfied. Giving the performance of his life. He's publicly accused your father and Dr. Ward of human experimentation and collaboration with vampire extremists. On live television. My breath catches. He's exposing himself? Calculated risk. Better to control the narrative than let your father spin it. She glances at me. Are you ready for what comes next? Once these files are presented, there's no anonymity for you either. I think about the life I've lived. Always hiding, always sick, always afraid. I've been invisible my whole life. Maybe it's time to be seen. The council chambers occupy the top floor of a nondescript office building downtown. By the time we arrive, the room is already filled with tension so thick I can almost taste it. Vampire elders sit on one side, their stillness unnerving against the restless shifting of the Human Ethics Committee members opposite them. And in the center, facing each other like boxers before a match, stand Damien and my father. I pause in the doorway, the flash drive containing my life's secrets clutched in my hand. For a moment, no one notices me. All eyes are on the confrontation unfolding. Your accusations are absurd, my father is saying, his voice controlled but edged with anger. My daughter is ill. She needs medical care, not whatever fantasy you've filled her head with. Illness? Damien's voice cuts like ice. Is that what you call deliberate genetic manipulation? Experimental treatments designed to alter her blood chemistry? Dr. Ward steps forward, her professional demeanor firmly in place. Mr. Locke, these wild claims are damaging and unfounded. Richard Quinn has dedicated his life to his daughter's care. To his daughter's exploitation, Damien corrects, and then his eyes find me in the doorway. Something flashes across his face. Relief, perhaps, or triumph. My father turns, following his gaze, and the color drains from his face. Avery. Every eye in the room turns to me. The weight of their attention should feel crushing, but instead, I stand straighter. This moment has been coming my whole life. Hello, Father, I say, my voice carrying clearly across the suddenly silent room. I hold up the flash drive. I brought my medical records, all of them, including your correspondence with the Crimson Order. Dr. Ward's professional mask slips for just an instant, revealing naked fear beneath. My father's expression hardens into something I recognize all too well, the cold calculation of a man assessing damage and plotting containment. Avery, you're confused, he begins, taking a step toward me. These people have manipulated you. Stop. The word comes out stronger than I expected. No more lies, no more treatments, no more tests. I walk forward, conscious of every eye following me, and place the flash drive on the central table. Everything is here. 30 years of experiments, collaboration with vampire extremists, illegal genetic modification. I look directly at my father. You didn't raise a daughter. You created a weapon. For the protection of humanity, he hisses, dropping the concerned father act now that it's useless. You have no idea what these creatures are capable of. I know exactly what they're capable of, I reply steadily. And what humans are capable of, too. Neither has a monopoly on monstrosity or mercy. One of the vampire elders, a severe-looking woman with silver hair, steps forward. These are serious accusations, Ms. Quinn. You understand we will need to verify. Verify all you want. I interrupt, surprising myself with my boldness. Every experiment, every treatment, every deal with the Crimson Order, it's all documented. My father is very thorough. The head of the ethics committee, a distinguished man with kind eyes, approaches the table. If these claims are substantiated, Dr. Quinn, the consequences will be severe. My father's composure cracks. You fools! Do you know what they'll do with her blood if they get it? The Crimson Order will create a feeding frenzy that will expose all of them. He jabs a finger toward the vampire side of the room. Our carefully maintained peace will collapse. Peace built on exploitation isn't peace at all, Damien says quietly, moving to stand beside me. It's just oppression waiting to be named. The doors at the back of the chamber burst open. Marcus Hale strides in, flanked by several hard-faced vampires I recognize from the attack on Damien's house. How convenient, Marcus announces, his voice carrying a charismatic power that immediately commands attention. All the players in one room. Damien shifts slightly, positioning himself between Marcus and me. This doesn't concern you, Marcus. The council will handle this matter. Marcus laughs, the sound unnervingly musical. When the council has been compromised? I think not. His gaze fixes on me, hungry and calculating. The empty blood belongs with those who understand its value. She belongs to herself, Damien says, voice dropping to a dangerous register. The tension in the room coalesces, everyone sensing the violence hanging in the balance. My father, surprisingly, breaks it. This is exactly what I warned about, he shouts, addressing the human committee members. They see her as a commodity, a resource to be controlled. Like you did? I ask him quietly. At least they're honest about their intentions. Marcus takes another step forward. Come with us, Avery Quinn. We can protect you from both sides of this corrupt system. She stays here, Damien counters, and I feel the power in his voice, the authority that makes him king. The silver-haired vampire elder raises her hand, and the room falls silent. Enough. Marcus Hale, you were not invited to this council. Your presence is a violation of our laws. Laws that protect humans at our expense, Marcus spits. Laws that keep us hiding in shadows while they multiply and destroy the world. Laws that prevent war, she replies evenly. My father seizes the moment of distraction to lunge toward me, grabbing my arm with bruising force. This ends now. You're coming home, Avery. Before I can react, Damien moves, faster than human eyes can track. One moment my father is gripping my arm. The next he's on his knees, Damien's hand around his throat. She is home, Damien says, voice deadly quiet. The room erupts into chaos. Marcus and his followers surge forward. Council guards materialize from the shadows. Human committee members retreat toward the exits. Dr. Ward tries to slip away unnoticed, and in the center of it all, I make my choice. I step forward, placing my hand on Damien's arm. Let him go, I say softly. He's not worth it. Damien's eyes meet mine, centuries of controlled violence warring with something newer, something almost human. Slowly he releases my father, who collapses gasping to the floor. I turn to face the room, raising my voice to cut through the chaos. Enough! Surprisingly, they listen. My blood is not a weapon or a commodity or a scientific breakthrough, I say into the sudden silence. It's just blood, and it's mine. I look at Marcus, then at my father, then at the council members. I choose where I belong. I choose who I trust, and I choose to stay with Damien Locke. I reach for Damien's hand, twining my fingers with his in full view of everyone. His skin is cool against mine, but his grip is steady, anchoring. The files will show everything, I continue. My father and Dr. Ward broke human laws and vampire treaties. The Crimson Order has been manipulating both sides. None of them speaks for me anymore. The silver-haired elder studies me for a long moment, then nods once. The council acknowledges your choice, Avery Quinn. She turns to the Human Committee chairman. I suggest we review these files together, then reconvene to determine appropriate actions. Marcus snarls, taking a threatening step forward, but council guards move to intercept him. This isn't over, he warns, glaring at Damien. The old ways are dying. Perhaps, Damien replies calmly, but not today. As Marcus and his followers are escorted out, my father struggles to his feet, hatred burning in his eyes. You're making a mistake, Avery. They'll use you just like I did, just for different purposes. I look at him, really look at him, perhaps for the first time. Not as the towering figure of my childhood, not as the brilliant doctor, but as a broken man whose ambition consumed whatever love he might once have felt. The difference, I tell him quietly, is that I'm choosing this path. Goodbye, Father. 3 months later, I stand on the balcony of Damien's house, our house now, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of amber and rose. The evening air carries the scent of approaching autumn, crisp and full of possibility. Behind me, the door slides open. Damien steps out, moving with that fluid grace that still catches my breath sometimes. He wraps his arms around me from behind, and I lean into his embrace. The council's verdict came through, he says, his voice a pleasant rumble against my back. Your father and Dr. Ward have been barred from medical practice. The human authorities are pursuing criminal charges. And the Crimson Order? Scattered for now. Marcus went underground after the council revoked his protection. Noah's sources say he's fled the country. I nod, absorbing this. Will they come back for me? Eventually, Damien answers honestly. But we'll be ready. We stand in comfortable silence, watching darkness claim the sky. My health has improved dramatically since stopping my father's treatments, the constant fatigue and weakness fading like morning mist. My blood remains empty, as Damien calls it, but it no longer defines me. The neighbors are staring again, I note, spotting Elena Brooks and Jonathan Pierce watching us from their yard below. Damien chuckles. Let them. They'll get used to us eventually. A human and the vampire king, I muse. Quite the scandal. The best kind, he murmurs, pressing a kiss to my temple. I turn in his arms, studying his face, the face that had once seemed so intimidating, now as familiar to me as my own. No regrets? None, he says without hesitation. You? I think about the life I left behind, the sterile rooms, the endless tests, the isolation, and I think about what I've found, purpose, connection, and a peculiar kind of freedom in choosing my own constraints. None, I answer truthfully. As night settles fully around us, the first stars appearing like distant beacons, I listen to the steady rhythm of Damien's breathing beside me. It's a sound I've come to associate with safety, with home. My blood may be empty, but my life, at last, is full.